Just the other day, I was asked by one of our new customers in Impact this question, Dustin, if I'm sharing a PowerPoint in Ecamm Live, does anyone know how I can write on the PowerPoint slide while I'm presenting? My first thought went to an app by Michael Forrester called Video Pencil. Haven't used it myself, but I know it's a good app for sending a feed from Ecamm to your iPad, and then you can mark it up and just the overlay comes back in and you put a layer over the top. It works pretty well. It's a little bit pixelated. There is a bit of a delay with it. And to take the watermark off, it's £39. So I thought there's got to be another way to do this. Here we are. We've got iPads. We've got Keynote on them. We've got pencils. Surely we can do it on here. And so I don't know about this for PowerPoint. I haven't used PowerPoint for a long time, but someone wanting Ecamm is on a Mac, and so therefore they've got Keynote, which is Apple's version of PowerPoint. And so I had a look into this, and yes, absolutely, you can do it. And it isn't just for Ecamm. You could be sending this out anywhere. This is just using your iPad with Keynote and being able to mark it up. So let's get into it. Firstly, what am I using here? I've got an iPad. It's probably 4 years old. We're connecting over USB to my MacBook Pro. Make sure the software is all up to date on all of these things, because if you're asking me, this isn't working when I'm doing it, it may well be just that it isn't up to date. But once you connect that up, first time it's going to say, do you trust it? If you've never connected your iPad this way. Then when you come into Ecamm, have a look under your camera and you should see up there your iPad as a camera source. As long as you can see it, we know we're connected and we're all good. So back over to our iPad and open up Keynote. You can just start from scratch, create a new one there. I'm just going to pick one down here that I've used before. It's not actually ideal for this because it's got a cutout where I would have a picture of me sitting over the top of it. But so that, yeah, don't worry about it. What we're going to do is create a new scene for this. So I want a scene where I'm sitting on the left, my presentation's on the right, and I can mark it up as I want to. So we're going to create a new scene first of all. So we do that over here, and I'm going to change the source to blank. And we'll name this presentation. And what I'll do, so with the overlays, I'm going to bring in a video overlay, a camera overlay. So I click here first of all, and it just brings in whatever you last used or brought in as an overlay with borders and things. It will remember that this time around. So you can choose there what colors, what branding you want to do. And the first time I'm going to do this, I'm bringing in my iPad. So up here, I can choose my iPad. Shape, I'm going to stick with custom. I do want to have a border on this one, and I've set the width of 4 and the radius of 33. And what I'm going to do actually, let's just pull this out a bit. You'll notice with this custom one, it doesn't lock the positioning. So if I pull that into the side, it is going to crop the view coming through, and the same going the other way. So I need to try and get that to the right size. And what I'm going to do as well is turn off these controls so I can see a bit more of what's happening there. Pull that down. I think that looks about right. It's not starting to crop the top, and it's not taking anything off the edges. So that's pretty much my iPad screen. What I'm going to do as well, I do quite like this perspective feature. So notice that it will change the angle like that. And I just like it when it's tilting slightly into the frame like this. Now, once I'm happy with that, I'm going to lock that overlay down so I can't accidentally knock it. And we're going to bring in another overlay, which is going to be me, but we don't want that camera. So again, we come up here to camera source, and here's my main camera coming through. And again, we can adjust this to be whatever shape or size you want. I'm going to center it there, and I'm going to also do the perspective, but back this way a little bit. So it just has me kind of looking into the shot. And I'm just tabbing that over slightly because sometimes on those it snaps to the blue lines and I want it to come here. So right, we've created a scene now, so I can come from this scene to this scene, and as you can see, this is just doing a mirror of what is on my display here. So as I'm looking at these slides, we're not in presentation mode yet. This is just me kind of working through my slides. When I want to actually present this, what I'm going to do, you can see at the top there is the little play symbol. And so I tap on that and we're now in this presenter mode. And you can see actually now that if I wanted to, I could pull down, I need to unlock the overlay, but I could actually change the shape of this now, because that's the area that I want to keep without all that frame around the outside of it. So this is me doing a presentation. Again, if I want to lock this down, I can either lock the whole scene now that I've got things in place and I feel happy with where we're going. And when I come out of live demo, you can see now how that's looking. I'm going to would tweak that slightly. My spaces are a little bit off, but we're trying to keep this quick. So all I'm doing here, now that I'm in this, I can tap on my iPad. And whenever I tap on the iPad, it's just going to progress to the next scene. If I want to go back a scene, then weirdly, I would think you're swiping to the left, like backwards, but you don't. You go left to right, and if I swipe left to right, it'll go back through those scenes. Now, that's all great. That's me doing a presentation. What we actually want to answer in this question is how we can write on that. Now, if I just press and hold my finger on the iPad, you'll notice that this little margin comes up at the bottom. It isn't on yours because I've cropped this in too tight. Let me pull that back, and you'll see that down the bottom of the window there is a little menu. And when I click on it, it'll bring up these pens. And so I can choose a color for a pen. And with my pencil, all I'm doing is drawing over here. And maybe I want to mark something off or underline it here. And it really is as fast as real time there. As I'm scribbling on here, you can see that's coming straight out on the other end. There's no pixelating around it. We're not doing that green screen or things that we do with other ways of writing on screen. We're just marking this up. And so I can then work through my slides, and maybe I want to point something out in here. I change the color and go, look how this has improved, and isn't this better? And I might point out the fact that there's a grid there, move to my next one. So now within this, I can toggle backwards and forwards by touching the left and right. It's put a bit of an overlay on. And there isn't, in this setup, there isn't a way of getting rid of that. If we went through HDMI and sent it out, imported it in through a cam link, we would lose all this because it would be as if it were going up to a presenter screen. But I think this is totally acceptable. And one of the other things I like is over on the left here, this little laser icon is, I could be just pointing out on here and it isn't writing on it, but it does allow me to just draw your eye over to that point. So yeah, we toggle through this. I can show all these different items on here. What happens at the end when I'm done with this and I hit done and I pinch to come out of the presentation, none of that has been marked up or overlaid on the actual presentation itself. It will only be there while I'm doing my live. If I came back through, if I close this down, opened it up again, all of those overlays will have gone. Okay, back on that one that I just underlined a minute ago, it's not there. So my first thought was, oh no, it's going to mess up all my slides. I'm going to have to redo them all or undo everything. It doesn't. I really like this. So you could do your presentation, and once you've been in and you've opened that up and you've got your pen set, you don't actually need to have this open. As soon as I start with my pen on the screen, it brings that menu up. I think this is really good. And so I'm very thankful for the question coming through. It's something I didn't know you could do, but that's what I love. You ask a question, I go off and have a look, and it gives us inspiration to create a new little video over here. So I hope you've enjoyed that. This really does form part of this little series here of quick questions. And if you've got a question like this that you'd like us to give you some feedback on, try and answer for you, why don't you fire away? Let me know in the comments and you could be the star of our next video. Okay, thanks so much. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you in another video.